Season for graduations. It's the time of transition for those graduating, and if you're the parent of a graduate.
A common question for young people at this turning point in their life is, what am I going to do now with the rest of my life? Christine Whalen is a clinical professor in the UW Department of Consumer Science and the author of the book, The Big Picture, a guide to finding your purpose in life. I need to read this book. Hello, Christine. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
This is such a huge transition for both students and for parents. But let's start with students first.
Yes.
Really, at any stage of graduation, maybe high school or college, what are some of the big picture questions you need to be asking yourself?
Well, the first huge one is, okay, so I did that. Now what? What am I going to do with my life? And it's the question that adults always like to ask young adults, which is, so what are you going to do when you grow up, right? And for a lot of us, that's kind of a complicated question.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a huge amount of pressure to have that one perfect career for the rest of your life and have it all figured out. Instead, I advise young adults to have a purpose mindset, which means asking what they value, what matters most to them, why it matters, and then how they can make it happen to have a positive impact on the lives of others. That way, you can kind of choose your own adventure along the way, and if it doesn't work out the first time, you pivot, you figure out how to change things, and then take a purpose-based next step.
High school grads, I think it's particularly important. You need to decide what,
That's right.
sophomore, junior year, what are you going to do? You're going to go to college, going to go to tech school, you're going to get a job, go to the military. When should that process start?
Honestly, I think we should start asking young adults as early as 13 and 14 to kind of figure out what matters to them as individuals. Not what matters to their parents or to folks in authority around them, but to actually think about what matters most to them. So many of my students, when they come to me and I give them the big picture and we do these workbook exercises, they say, no one has given me the space to ask these questions before. And simply giving ourselves the space to ask and answer questions of meaning and questions of how we can actually take steps toward helping folks we care about is a really empowering thing. And can you imagine empowering a young adult to not just do what we think that is best for them, but to do what they want to do? Because then they're going to be more likely to follow through, they're going to be more likely to be successful, because it comes from a place of individual empowerment.
Well, and you've done some fascinating research about this. You did a survey where you surveyed 700 people and you looked at young people specifically. And millennials don't necessarily want a job. They want something that fulfills purpose and meaning in their life. So, and I think that's very evolved. That's a different way to look at it than when you and I were coming up, Mark, where you thought you'd graduate from school.
This is the path you take.
Right.
That's right. So young adults are looking for purpose before paycheck.
Yeah.
What they're looking for is a job that gives them meaning. Now, I caution a little bit on that because you can have purpose and paycheck, as we all want, right? And so there's great research that shows that we can do something called job crafting. Let's say you get a job, it's not entirely in line with what you think you really want to be doing. Well, maybe you can change it. Maybe you can think about the purpose and how your values work to make this job a huge success. If you're thinking about purpose, you are more likely to be thriving and not just kind of existing in life. And in my survey, I found that too many young adults say that they're just existing and kind of coasting through life rather than feeling like they're on a forward trajectory. The other bit of interesting information I found in the survey is that among older folks, if they could think about the one bit of advice they would want to give themselves, it would be, when I was young, I should have asked, what do I want to do in terms of my larger purpose? So asking those questions now, and even having it as a conversation between a parent and a child, I'm really encouraging that, because us who are not a little aged out of that high school and college realm, it's really helpful to ask those questions ourselves.
And you can ask questions about yourself when you're 50 or 60.
Absolutely.
It's all in the book. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? And that could be at any point in your life.
This would be a great graduation present.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for one.
Christine, thanks for being with us today.
Very interesting. Great to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you again. See you next month.
Yeah, we'll see you next month.